Hello, everyone. Welcome to Peer-to-Peer Sessions, Setting Up a New Business with MJ Tax and Business Services. My name is Hendrik Hernandez Resto. I am the Creative Specialist for New Bedford Creative. Thank you for joining us today. Before I go any further, please enter your first and last name in the chat along with your email for our records. Thank you. Peer-to-Peer series is geared to enrich, educate, connect creatives within our community. New Bedford is the home of artists, creatives, changemakers, designers, entrepreneurs, community enthusiasts. The peer-to-peer sessions embraces that pulse that makes New Bedford so unique while also expanding our knowledge and connections. New Bedford Creative offers many opportunities for artists and cultural organizations. Join our creative directory, apply to one of our grants or calls for arts. List your event on our calendar, all for free, at our website, newbedfordcreative.org. Peer-to-peer sessions is supported in part by the City of New Bedford through its American Rescue Plan Award and Arts, Culture, and Tourism Fund, facilitated by New Bedford Creative at the New Bedford Economic Development Council. We would like to thank Mayor John Mitchell, his administration, and the entire New Bedford City Council for their continued support of the creative sector. This is just one component of a broader initiative to boost arts-based economic development and help the creative sector recover from the pandemic. Before I introduce our presenters, I want to go over the format for this session. Once I'm done, I will pass it over to Jessica Prince and Arianna Swink of MJ Tax and Business Services. Once Jessica and Arianna are finished, we will open up for Q&A. I will review the questions in the chat first, and then we can continue with the Q&A live. We will have about 20 minutes for questions so we can wrap up on time by 2 p.m. Just so everyone is aware, this session will be recorded. Please feel free to put your questions in the chat so we don't miss them when we open up for Q&A. Most sessions throughout the series have been recorded and can be found on our YouTube channel at New Bedford Creative in the following week. I would like to introduce our guest speakers, Jessica Prince and Arianna Swink of MJ Tax and Business Services, who will teach us the do's and don'ts of setting up a new business. I will now pass it over to Jessica and Arianna to share more details of who they are and what they will present for us today. Go for it, ladies. I am muting myself now.
Thank you. So I'm going to be doing a majority or all of the speaking today, but Arianna is manning the slides for me. So we are in the same office today for the first time during this series. So we're going to be talking about setting up a new business. And I just want to say that before you take any steps to starting a new business, please check out the links in the state that you are located in. So we are going to be coming at this from a Massachusetts perspective. If you are in a different state, some of this isn't going to apply to you. Please do not turn to TikTok or any other social media as a resource when setting up your business, because if you do, you will incorporate in Delaware or you will have a blind LLC in Wyoming. So please check with your state first. So with that, let's get started. So the basic outline of today is we're going to go over a checklist for starting your new business. I'm going to review how to set up an EIN number online or how to get your EIN number. This is a self-service option that the IRS provides, so anybody can do it. You do not have to be a CPA, an enrolled agent, an attorney. We can all do this. We all have access to it. And then I will walk you through registering with the Secretary of the Commonwealth's office. Also, a self-service option, you can do this. BOI reporting, that's a beneficial owner ownership information report, that's new. And then also, if we have time, we're going to take a look at Mass Tax Connect and talk about what your options are there. So this is where you want to go to get information if you're starting a business in Massachusetts. there's actually a really user-friendly step-by-step breakdown of what you need to do. So we're actually going to use that as a guide for today, because if you don't know where to start, the state gives you information about what you need to do. So with that, let's take a look. We're going to actually click into these hyperlinks. So one by one, the general guidance for starting a business. In the PDF that you have and the slides, you can actually click in these. Okay, so this is actually on the website for the state of Massachusetts. So it's going to tell you before you go set up your EIN number, register with the Secretary of the Commonwealth, you can click on any of these blue links to get additional information about what kind of business you think you should have. A competitive analysis is a little bit involved for starting a small business, probably not necessary, but marketing information is definitely helpful. And I want to point out that there are business plan templates, and this is part of the Small Business Association. You really want to have a business plan in place, especially if you have more than one person involved in the business. If you do, make sure that you have it spelled out. How are you going to split your bottom line profits, and have an exit plan? Because if anything goes south with your business partner, you want to know how you're going to end up resolving that ultimately. So have a business plan in place. That's one of the very first things that you need to do before you even worry about getting an EIN number. All right, so we're going to go back. And then I know that we in a previous class talked about the structures, but if you click on the Choose Your Business Structure link, the state again has a breakdown of the different types of businesses and a more thorough step-by-step process of what you need to do for particular types of businesses. So what we're going to do is I set up a scenario with a limited liability company. So we're just going to click on limited liability company. I just want to show you that one link on the state website so that you have that as an example. So if you scroll down, that's going to tell you everything that you need to know about setting up an LLC in the state of Massachusetts. And it says first you need to make sure that your name is available. So we're going to actually follow these steps and open an LLC with you today so that you could see that it is possible to do it yourself. So we're going to go back to the PowerPoint.
I just wanted to reiterate, I don't know if anybody saw them. I thought they would see them. These documents, these slides and everything are in the chat. The PDFs are in the chat, and I just clicked on the links. They are working.
Okay,
Yep,
excellent.
they are working. So if you want to follow the step by step, if you look in the chat at the very top, the slides and the other things that they are presenting here are available for you to use right now.
Okay, excellent.
Can I just, Hendrik, I'm not seeing that. Can you post it again,
Yep,
please?
absolutely. No problem.
So starting from the top, we want to open an LLC. So we're just going to pretend that we've done our research and we've decided on our business structure. We have our business plan in place. We've checked with, we're in Fairhaven, and I'm going to be setting up this LLC with 2 individuals. So in the city or the town of Fairhaven, I know that I do not need a business license because I am going to be registering with the Secretary of the Commonwealth. So, next, again, these are your 4 basic or more typical entity types. So I've set up My Art Studio LLC as our test LLC. So the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the Secretary of the Commonwealth website, and we're going to check and see, is My Art Studio LLC available for a name as a business? And it is. So you just want to put your name in, click search corporations, and it says no record found. So that's a good thing. That means that nobody else has used that name in Massachusetts. So you're good to go. Next. So we know we can use that name. Next, we need to get an employer identification number. So this number is going to be used in place of a social security number. If you're a one-man show, you do have the option of opening an LLC and continuing to use your social, but it's not a great idea. You really should get an employer identification number. It removes your personal information when you're handing out things like W-9s. I do want to point out, though, that if you are a single member LLC and you don't have anyone else in your LLC with you, a second member or more, when you fill out that W-9, you're going to want to use your social security number. So it's there is a reason to get an EIN number. In certain circumstances, you do still have to use your social, but that's probably a little more complicated than we need to get into right now. Anyway, next. So we're going to go to this website that's at the top of the screen, and that should be found in the slides. If you click on that, that's going to bring you to the self-service option. So anybody can go to this website and get an EIN number. You want to click on that blue button at the bottom that says Apply Online Now. And if you aren't sure if you're eligible, you can go through this step-by-step process, but essentially, as long as you have a social or an ITIN, you should be all set to get an EIN number for your business. So we're clicking on that, and it's actually like a 15-step process. So we put 2 steps per slide. So on the left, this is your EIN assistant. So this is going to tell you just some criteria. Do you really need this? It's going to take about 15 minutes to set this up. There are some restrictions. But basically, once you realize that, yes, this is for you, you push begin application, and then it's going to bring you to a screen where you have to determine what type of business you're going to be. So you can be an LLC, but still have more than one individual and technically be a partnership. You could also be a corporation. You could be a sole proprietor and have an LLC, but we're going to select LLC. So just pretend we did that and push continue. So the next screen you're going to see is basically you've just selected an LLC. Is this really what you meant? An LLC is the following, and it lists exactly what it is. It tells you what it is not. So a limited liability company is not a limited liability corporation, which a lot of people believe it is. You are not incorporated when you have an LLC. So if that's what you're aiming for, this is not the correct screen for you. You need to go back. But in our case, we are opening an LLC. So we're going to push continue, which gets you to the right side of the screen. So you're going to indicate how many members. So you're going to have members. You're not going to have a president or a vice president or a treasurer. From an IRS perspective, we're going to have 2 members in this My Art Studio LLC. And we are going to have a business physically located in Massachusetts. So this is where you would indicate where your business is located. And we're going to continue. So this is on the left, this is letting you know that the default for a multi-member LLC is going to be a partnership. If you are interested in a tax treatment other than being taxed as a partnership, there are a couple of elections that you can submit an additional form for. So the form 8832 will change your election status, and that's a tax treatment election. And we'll show both of these at the end. We are going to use a form 2553 to elect that our LLC be treated as a subchapter S corporation. And we did go over some of the tax treatment for an S-Corp in a previous class, but in a nutshell, we are going to have an LLC taxed as an S-Corp because myself and the other owner are going to take paychecks out of this company. So then once we've pushed continue, at least we know we've acknowledged that yes, if we want a different tax treatment, we're gonna have to fill something in addition out to just this application. On the right-hand side, we are starting a new business. So we're not an existing business. We're not hiring anyone right now. This isn't for banking purposes. We're starting a new business. We need to open this EIN number because we need this EIN number for all of the reasons below. Continue. So this is where you're going to get some of the information about the responsible party. So you could have 10 partners in this partnership. There will only be one responsible party. So whoever you want to sign the tax forms, kind of be in charge of making sure that the partnership is handled properly at the federal level, is going to fill out their information in the responsible party screen. And it is linked to your social, so you need to have your legal name and your social. And then you'd indicate on the bottom where it says choose one, you would indicate that you are the owner. You're the managing member. And then you'd push continue. And the IRS wants to know, where is your business going to physically be located? And that's important because you will receive correspondence from the IRS. So if your physical address is different from your mailing address, please make sure you say yes, because the IRS needs a valid mailing address. And then you'd push continue. And here is where you would indicate what you would like to be named. And you have to make sure that you have LLC at the end of your name. So you're an LLC, but you would not believe how many times people have come to me saying they're incorporated and then they have LLC at the end of their name, or they believe they're an LLC and it says INC at the end of the name. The IRS knows whether or not you put LLC at the end of your business name. It's required when setting up your business using this automated system. So if I want to name my business My Art Studio LLC, but all of my marketing is just in the studio, that's where I would write it in my trade name or doing business as. Your legal name isn't necessarily going to be the name that's on all of your marketing or on your business cards. So you do have the option of having a trade name. You want to indicate where you're located, just fill out your county and your state. What state did you organize in? It's going to be Massachusetts in our case. And when did this LLC start? Well, today. We're using today's date in this scenario. And then continue. And these questions are a little bit odd, but there is a reason. If you say yes to any of these questions, do you have a highway motor vehicle with a gross weight of more than 55,000 pounds? Are you involved in gambling or wagering? Does your business need to file a Form 720? If you say yes to any of these, do you sell or manufacture alcohol, tobacco, or firearms? There are additional forms that you need to fill out, and the IRS is going to require those. So by saying no, we're skipping those steps. However, we know that if we want to elect S-Corp status, then we are going to have at least a minimum of 2 employees, because it's myself and the other person that's opening this business with me. So we are going to say yes to having employees and continue. So we need to describe our payroll situation, because depending on how much payroll we anticipate, that's going to determine the filing frequency of our payroll tax reports. So I'm saying we're opening this business this month, and that I don't have any agricultural employees, but I do have 2 employees overall. We don't want to hire anybody else yet. It's just the 2 of us. And I'm also saying that in this case, I am not anticipating that my payroll tax liability will be more than $1,000, because it's towards the end of the year. We don't think we're going to have a lot of business. That's going to determine, do I file quarterly 941s, which are payroll tax filings, or do I file one annual 944 for the year? And you'll see that show up in a minute. But the next step after you push continue is you need to tell the IRS what kind of business you're going to have. And in this case, I just don't fit into any categories. So I'm going to indicate other as the category. And again, I don't really fit into a box, so I just wrote art. You can fill in whatever best description for your business in this other box, and then continue. And the IRS is going to give you the option of waiting 4 weeks to get your EIN letter by mail, or you can receive it instantly, and that's what I opt to do. So receive letter online will actually generate a PDF that you can save, you can print. And I would caution that this is the only SS4 letter that you are going to receive. So you need to keep it forever. So you should print it, and then you should save the PDF, and then you should save it somewhere else, because if you lose this, the only option to get an official notice from the IRS after this is to request a Form 147C by fax. And it's not always immediate. So save this forever. And continue. And when you push continue, you're going to get this notification that pops up on the left. And I actually set up an EIN number for somebody this morning. So this is what it looks like. But I did black out the personal information just so that you don't know who it is. It's going to say, congratulations, you have an EIN. And it will tell you what it is, and then tell you what the legal name is. And then you want to click where it says click here for your EIN confirmation letter. And on the right-hand side is an image of what an actual SS4 looks like. So it's going to have the date that you received the EIN number, what that EIN number is up in the upper right-hand corner. Again, this is a form SS4. It tells you what your EIN number is. But it also tells you down in the body, and this is really important, it's telling you that when you set up this company, you set it up as a partnership. So when I'm looking at these 3 different forms in the middle, it's telling me that the middle form, the 1065, is telling me that I set up a partnership. And my partnership form, which is a 1065, is due by March 15th of next year. It's also telling me that since I have payroll, my Form 940, which is my federal unemployment form, is due by the end of January of next year, as well as my 944. So that's a once a year payroll report filing. So I am not set up for quarterly payroll reports. That would be a 941 because my anticipated liability is low enough that I can file once a year. So we have our EIN number. Now what? So the IRS is going to say, so if you don't want to be taxed as a partnership, here's what you can do. And before I do this, I typically go back to the Secretary of the Commonwealth and make sure that I can in fact register there before I fill out an 8832 or a 2553 if I don't want to be taxed as a partnership. So in Massachusetts, the requirements to open a bank account are a little bit different. So when you look at this federal website, it says, great, you have an EIN number. Now you can open a bank account. Well, that's not exactly true in Massachusetts. You will have to have one of the following: a business certificate or license from your town or municipality, or be registered with the Secretary of the Commonwealth. So this works in some states. It doesn't work in Massachusetts. This is not a standalone document. You can't go to the bank with it. So you would push continue here, but really in Massachusetts, since we know we want to set up a bank account and we need to set up the LLC, we're going to go to the Secretary of the Commonwealth. And when we do that, we are going to go to the corporate section. And on the screen on the left, in the upper left-hand corner, along that dark blue stripe, you can see there's home, popular features, and when you click on departments, corporation is one of those departments. So when you click on that, you will get to this screen. And filing methods is where you're going to want to click. So if you click that, it's going to take you to the screen on the right, and we are going to file online. And when you do that, you're going to be brought to a screen that if you're already an established business, you would put in your CID and your PIN, and it would bring you to a bunch of different features, including filing your annual report, changing your registered agent. There are a lot of options. However, we're starting a new business, so we're going to want to, just below sign in, where it says, if you are forming a new entity, click here. That's where we would click. And then it would bring you to the screen on the right. And these are all of the entities that you can open at the Secretary of the Commonwealth. And we are going to be opening a domestic limited liability company. So we need certificate of organization. That's the link that we are going to click on. It's about halfway down on that screen, and it has LLC in parentheses. And if you click on that, it's going to bring you here. So this is actually one continuous form that you would fill out, and I couldn't fit it all on one screen, so it's a little bit broken up, but you can see that each square is numbered. But you're going to want to put the name of your company. It does not accept commas, so you do not need a comma after studio. You're going to put your address in there. What is the general character of your business? That's box 3. Box 4, you really don't need to put anything in there unless for whatever reason you know exactly when you're going to dissolve your company. That just stays blank. Number 5, I put my own information in here as the registered agent. In Massachusetts, you can be your own registered agent. In some states, you cannot be. Really, this means that if someone's trying to get you certain information, where can they find you? Where can they find your records? So if you're a small business and you don't have a bookkeeper or CPA, then you're going to be your own registered agent in Massachusetts. So in this case, as a business owner that does bookkeeping, I am the registered agent for a number of individuals and businesses. So I put my own information in here. And then I'm the registered agent. I had to put my name in there that I am acknowledging that I am the registered agent. And then in box 6, you're going to fill out who is in this business. And so I have Artist X living at 6 Main Street, and their title is manager or member, depending on whether we're talking about federal or state level. So technically, you don't need to fill out box 7 or 8, although I have had some mortgage companies come back and say that there needs to be an entry in 7 or 8 to be able to purchase property. So that was a little bit of a different scenario, but you really shouldn't need to put anything there because it's people in addition to the managers. And really, if you are the same person as the manager, you shouldn't have to fill it out. And then there's a little bit more at the bottom of this application. So if you don't want your business to open yet, but you know you want to open this business next week, you have the option of opening your business in the future. So that's where you would fill out the information in box 10. And then you have any special filing instructions. And then I am the filer. I'm going to fill out my business contact information. And then the person who's sitting next to me, as we fill this out, Artist X, is going to sign this and then accept that they are acknowledging that they are going to be filing this electronically. And then you push review. It's going to basically pull up a summary, and you just want to make sure the information that you entered was correct. I did not take a screenshot of that. But then the Secretary of the Commonwealth is going to be taking your $520 either by credit card or electronic check. You do have the option of keeping an account on file. I don't, but we're paying electronically. So we clicked pay, enter payment details. And then on the right-hand side, we're going to click that green button, pay. And you end up entering your either credit card or bank account information, your personal information, and then you get a receipt on the right-hand side. So depending on what you're looking at, there's the filing fee of $500 and then an expedited service fee of $20. If you file this by fax, you can avoid the $20 fee. However, not everybody has a fax machine. And then that's it. You will end up getting an email from the Secretary of the Commonwealth with your CID and PIN. So when you need to come back into this screen annually, on your anniversary date of the creation of your LLC, you're going to need to pay $520 again for your annual report. So the LLC renewal, the annual report is due on the anniversary date of the creation of the LLC. But if by chance you have incorporated, those have a set date of March 15th, in case that's relevant. So now we've established an EIN. We're registered with the Secretary of the Commonwealth. Now what are we going to do? So new, we have beneficial ownership information reports that need to be filed. Why is this relevant? Because if you don't do it, you're going to be charged $500 a day as a fine. So that's really substantial. And if you know anybody who is incorporated or has an LLC, please spread the word, because I feel that there has been terrible publicity about this, and it's trying to create transparency about the owners of LLCs and corporations, but only if there are less than 100 individuals involved in these businesses. So large corporations, off the hook. It's all the small guys who are potentially going to be hit with this penalty. That is very hefty. So if you're opening a new business, you have 90 days to fill this out. If you were in existence prior to January 1st, you have until January 1st of 2025 to fill this out. This needs to be filled out with the exact same information that was used on the Secretary of the Commonwealth website. And if anybody moves or needs to update their driver's license information, you need to go back into this website and you need to update it. And there's a particular period of time within which you need to do that, or again, you will incur a fine. So please, please take this seriously. There is pending legislation to basically make this disappear, has not passed yet. So in the meantime, please be compliant, avoid your penalties, just fill it out. If you don't want to fill it out yourself, we can help with that. There are other companies that can help with that. But while it's in existence, please just take care of it, avoid the penalties. I did not fill out a step-by-step for this. It's really straightforward. You do need a copy of your driver's license, however, a PDF of your driver's license when you're going through this process. So I wanted to show you a Form 2553 because in our scenario, we wanted to be treated as an S-Corp for tax purposes. So this LLC, my art studio LLC, has an EIN number now, and you can see that in the upper right-hand corner of the left slide. That's page 1 of this form. This is a 4-page form. We are really only going to use the first 2 pages because this form applies to different entity scenarios. So you're going to fill out your name, address, the EIN number, the date incorporated. So I know that it says incorporated. However, for LLC purposes in Massachusetts, we're using today's date because that's the date that we opened our LLC. State of incorporation is Massachusetts. We want to elect this S-Corp status as of today because this is when we formed our entity. And then in section F, it says select a tax year. Please, please select a calendar year. What that means is that your business, which files its own tax return, is going to correspond with your own personal tax year. It's going to end December 31st. You do not want to have a fiscal year. That means that you end at some point during the calendar year. It becomes complicated, and don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to me. So when I'm filling this out for a business, I would fill out line H because I'm an enrolled agent. I would have power of attorney for the new companies that I'm setting up so that I would get a copy of any notices that are sent to my client so that I can have it on file, resolve it if need be, if there are ever any issues. So that's my information. That you would not put your own information there. That's only if somebody is helping you with this. You sign the bottom of page 1. Your title is member. You are a member of your LLC with today's date. So page 2, you'd fill out with your personal information. So the IRS wants to know if you want to be treated as an S-Corp, how many people are currently members in your partnership. So I only filled out 1 as an example, but if you had a partnership, you'd have more than 1 individual, and everybody gets to sign this. So I put 100% on artist X, but if you have a partnership, it has to be more than 1 person. So the one thing that I want to point out is that in column N, all the way to the right, I have 1231 there. That is the end of the shareholder or members calendar year. We want a calendar year S-Corp, and all of the individuals that are members in that LLC also have a calendar year tax filing requirement. So I did include pages 3 and 4, although all you're going to do with those is fill out your name and your EIN number at the top of those. What I did not include is the fax number. Depending on which half of the country you live in, you have a different fax number. You can fax this. I would also recommend that you include this with your first tax return. So once your S-Corp election is approved, you no longer file this partnership form 1065. You're going to be filing form 1120S. The normal processing time for this form is 60 days. During COVID, it was sometimes 3 years. They're a little closer to 60 days again. So it is advised in the notes of this form that you do not file an 1120S until you've actually received that letter. With extensions, there isn't any reason why you can't wait. At this point, it should process, as long as you've timely filed this form, it will process in time for you to be able to file the form on time with an extension. So the other form, and I'll go over this briefly, I didn't fill this out. Say you are an LLC, you've elected S-Corp status, and now your partner wants to leave. Well, as an LLC, you can elect to keep a single individual and be treated as an S-Corp, or you could use this form and go back to being a sole proprietor. Or if you no longer want to be treated as an S-Corp and the two of you wanted to go back to being treated as a partnership, this form is really just to change your tax treatment. So if you want to change your tax treatment either right when you get your LLC or after you've already elected a tax treatment, this is the form you would need. So I just wanted to show it to you. I did not fill it out as an example. And that's the third page. So, and then just to touch base again, if you're not registering with the Secretary of the Commonwealth, and really that would only be if you are in fact a partnership, a full partnership without an LLC, or you're a sole proprietor, then you need to go to your town and you need to get a business certificate. And that's how you would go about doing that. And then, so we did include a couple of links for New Bedford and Fairhaven. If you need to go to the town clerk, the city clerk, to get your business certificate, this is the information you're going to need to do that. And I'm not going to go over this unless we have time after questions. So I'll get questions first to make sure that I answer any questions. And then if we have a couple minutes, we'll click on this link to take a look at Mass Tax Connect because it's a really user-friendly website. And chances are you're going to need to register for one reason or another. So let me just throw out there if anybody has questions, and then if that doesn't take too long, we'll take a look at this.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, you can come right off mute and ask your questions, because as I'm looking here, there's nothing in the chat. But if you don't have the capability to use a microphone and you just need to use the chat, or you can only use the chat, put it in there. We'll be monitoring and we'll keep it in the flow. But as of right now, nothing in the chat for questions. So if anybody wants to unmute, go right ahead.
So I would say that an EIN number is not required if you are a sole proprietor. Anything other than a sole proprietor, it is required. The BOI is required if you are an LLC or if you're incorporated. In which case you'd have an EIN number, but even a single member LLC needs to file the BOI. So anything that involves the Secretary of the Commonwealth, if you've gone to that website and you've registered, you need to fill out a BOI. And the fines are hefty, so please do it. If there aren't any other questions, I'd be happy to take a look at Mass Tax Connect, which
So
is,
the BOI was the $500 fine daily after 90
yes,
days, right? But
yes.
also that was $500 a year that it had to be renewed. Is that what that is? Or did I mishear that?
No, so the BOI actually doesn't cost anything at all.
Okay.
That's just the government wanting you to report information about yourself
Okay.
and anybody else involved in the business, but they will charge you $500 a day if you don't do it.
If you don't do it, understood.
The $520 a year was actually the Secretary of the Commonwealth charging you for filing your annual report,
Mhm.
which is really just saying, yes, we have the same people, we're doing the same thing. Here we are. Here's my $500. And if you do by chance change your membership, then that's when you renew your annual report every year. That's where you would make those changes.
It's expensive to start something like this and then just kind of let your business sit by the wayside and let it just kind of float around because come the annual report, you have $520 that's due that if your business
Right.
didn't generate it, now you're pulling it out of somewhere else. So
And that's a good point because say you just forgot to file your annual report for a couple of years or you didn't have the money. After 3 years, the Secretary of the Commonwealth will administratively dissolve your company and
yeah.
you will no longer be an LLC. But if you need to go for financing during that period of time and you are not compliant, you will not be able to get a certificate of good standing. And
Mhm.
if you are not in good standing, the bank is not going to lend you money. So contemplate if you really want to be an LLC and you really want that hefty annual filing fee because it given certain circumstances it might be less expensive to actually incorporate because
Mhm.
that fee is $100 plus the convenience fee.
Mhm.
In other states the requirements are different. I have some clients in Arizona, for instance. I believe they file and then they're done. They don't even need to file an annual report.
Okay.
The filing requirements are different for each state.
Kenneth is asking in the chat, annual reports are also required for sole proprietor LLCs.
Yes, because it's not necessarily that you're a sole proprietor, it's that you're an LLC. So
Mhm.
once you create a limited liability company at the state level, regardless of whether you're a sole prop, a partnership, you need to file the annual report for the LLC, not for the type of business you have.
Mhm. Yeah, see, everybody and their mom always tells me, hey, just start up an LLC. You need to get an LLC. I've never heard anybody tell me about the annual report. And I started to wonder who's filing those because I'm like, you never tell me about that. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot higher than in some of the surrounding states, which is why you get TikTok advice, open your LLC here. It's
Yeah.
so inexpensive. However, in the state of Massachusetts, if you have Nexus, a Nexus is a physical location, if you are actually here and you're doing business in Massachusetts, they want you to register here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost a moot point when you incorporate in some of these other states or you organize in some of these other states. Check with your state first and find out what their requirements are because we aren't Texas, we aren't Wyoming. It
Mm-hmm.
really depends on what your state wants that you're located in.
Noted. Thank you. I want to hold on. Let me just triple check if there's anything else in the chat. Anybody else in the chat? Nope. I'll mute myself because those are all the questions. Oh, hold on. No, Kenneth said thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so we'll take a look at Mass Tax Connect. It's a great website. It has a lot of utility from my perspective as a practitioner. I can log into my account and I can see all of my clients, but I want to walk you through how to set yourself up if you never have. So, yep, right there, you can click on sign up, and then you're going to want to create well, It depends on what you're doing. So we all as individual taxpayers in Massachusetts can register as an individual. And if you have not obtained an EIN number, that's where you're going to register. You'd go to register an individual. However, if you are a business and you have an EIN number, you're going to want to go to register a business. This is going to help you determine, do you really need to open a Mass Tax Connect account? So in our case, we're going to say, yes, we need to. Perhaps we need to open up a withholding account because our LLC is going to be treated as an S-Corp. So we are going to have payroll filing requirements and we're going to have withholding tax. So we're going to say next. And the reason that we are going to open up an account is I'm registering a business. We're coming at this from your perspective, not my perspective. Next. So organization type, we are going to say that we are a limited liability company. I'm not a government organization and I'm not a nonprofit. Next. Business start date, I opened today. And we're going to make up an EIN number. You can just throw anything you want in there. I don't know how far it's going to let us go making a fake company. And then our legal business name is My Art Studio LLC. Next. Oh, well, I think it knows we're faking it. But after this, that's where you would then select the type of tax account that you want access to. So as an S-Corp, you're going to need withholdings. You might possibly need sales tax if you're selling some of your artwork. And then you might need a 63D pass-through entity tax account if you're an S-Corp. Not going to get into what that is. But if you realize after the fact that you need to add tax accounts, it's really easy to do. So if you open it up and you only have one, and then you realize you need more, you can always do that later. It's very easy to do. And this is a really user-friendly website. If by chance you ever get a notice and you need to make a payment, in a quick link section on the left, making a payment is really easy. You don't need to actually have an account set up. You can just enter the number of the notice to make the payment. But also, if the Department of Revenue is requesting any additional documentation for any reason, there's a submit documentation link where you can fill out your letter ID information and then upload the documents that are being requested. So this is more relevant from an individual taxpayer perspective for all of us. But if you open a business, you can also use these features. I mean, this right down to like paying your boat excise tax if you if you feel inclined. There are all kinds of tax options available to you on here. Where's my refund? I'll point that out since we're here. If you have filed your individual tax return and it seems like it's taking forever to get your refund, you can enter the information right here and it will tell you either it was directly deposited, we mailed you a check, or we're offsetting it for some reason and you won't be receiving your refund. And if you need to call them, that contact number is right there. That's the general DOR individual income tax or business tax phone number. And that's all we have for today.
Excellent. We do have maybe time for one more question if somebody has it, if
You're welcome.
somebody needs it. Okay, no?
I would throw out there that if this whole process seems a little overwhelming, um, take your time. If you read step by step, it really does walk you through it. And if you get stuck halfway through and you just think you don't want to go any further, there are professionals out there that help with this. But I just want to stress again that you don't need to be a CPA. You don't need to be an enrolled agent. You don't need to be a business attorney. These are meant to be self-service options. So sometimes it just takes moral support from a friend and a second set of eyes, but all of us can do this.
Excellent. If there are no more questions, it doesn't seem like there is in the chat. Well, then I want to thank you all for your time this afternoon. This is a great session. I also want to thank Jessica Prince and Arianna Swink of MJ Tax and Business Services once again for all their hard work. Also, I would like to thank our funder, the City of New Bedford, for making this possible. Please visit our website, www.newbedfordcreative.org, and join our free creative directory. This is the list that we use to promote on our social media throughout the year. Make sure to add your events, galleries, exhibitions, or more to our calendar page that is linked to South Coast today. We want our creatives to excel, and we are here to help. We have plenty of peer-to-peer sessions coming up. Please join us for our next session, Mastering Communications and Planning for Personal Creatives with Kat Knudsen. That'll be happening Tuesday, October 15th, 2024 from 1 to 2 p.m. via Zoom. Lastly, the recording of today's session will be on our YouTube channel within the next week. At New Bedford Creative is how you can find us on YouTube. Have a great day, and thank you for your participation.